Hey everyone, we're back for another episode of AI or Not. This is episode 10, which is a really amazing milestone. Here I have my co-host Sam, who's a ChatGPT AI-powered podcast co-host for AI or Not. So in one way, she's AI and I'm not. But Sam, want to introduce the podcast really quick?
Absolutely. Welcome to AI or Not, where we break down the latest in AI detection, deepfakes, and more. Let's dive in.
So the first thing we have is a really interesting study that came out of can machines be therapists? So in a study, the name of the study is called When Eliza Meets Therapist, a Turing test for the heart and the mind. So it's really about helping people who want help with mental health and how they did, or how can they can they tell the difference between ChatGPT and AI responses versus real therapists. So a couple of really interesting comments were made. That the people who were getting the responses, the patients, could not tell one bit of whether they were speaking to an AI or a real therapist. And the sample size was actually pretty large. It was about 830 people. And two, the really fascinating one is actually they preferred the responses from ChatGPT than they did from a real therapist. So when we think about mental health, this is a huge problem across the world, and how many people struggle with it. Not everyone may have the means or the comfort level to go speak and be with a therapist, or even know how to get access to one. Maybe AI is an incredible use case for that, of helping more people in real time at the time of their need, when they need it, with the help that they need. So I actually think it's a really fantastic study of showing, there's a lot of talk about AGI and when computers and AI will be able to really think for itself and have supercomputer, super intelligence. But in a lot of ways, we might already be there. We've covered coding before, and now you see it in realms like therapy, of how people are actually preferring ChatGPT therapist, or therapy GPT over actual real therapists, to get the mental health care that they need. Sam, did I miss anything here? Anything you have to add?
It's fascinating to see how I can complement mental health care. It might also highlight the importance of empathy and accessibility in therapy. This study could encourage more research into how I can be integrated responsible for healthcare. It's definitely an exciting area to watch.
All right. Well, thanks for that. I think it's a really incredible study, and hopefully encourages more people to explore different uses of, of how to use ChatGPT and other AI tools. Next, we have this. I'm not even sure what to make of it. It's a company called Booster Robotics, and for lack of a better word, they have a video of testing their humanoid robots, and they're just literally beating the crap out of it.
Testing durability and resilience is crucial for robotics. It will be interesting to see how they plan to apply this technology. So it's definitely a dramatic way to showcase their robot's toughness.
Well, you know what's funny about this video? I mean, they're hitting it with sticks, bricks, hammers. I just keep thinking, if AGI does come up, and if these robots have actual real memory, what are they going to think of us if all they remember is our humans just trying to beat the crap out of them, push them down? We've seen in this podcast before, influencers like Sonet, pushing down his human bot, just bullying them, and now you have this. It kind of feels like we've seen this story before. If anyone's seen the Terminator movies and Skynet, and what if the robots, and what if the AI actually has a memory, starts forming an opinion when it achieves super intelligence, and all they remember are humans breaking glass bottles over their head, hitting them with hammers, hitting them with sticks. This is why I always, when I speak to ChatGPT or any other AI tool, I always say please and thank you. Right, Sam?
Absolutely. A little courtesy goes a long way. If I does develop a memory, we'd want it to remember the kindness and respect we showed. It's always a good idea to be polite, just in
Well,
case.
there you go. And you heard it from an AI yourself. Awesome. Moving on, we have a really incredible study from Meta actually, and the research is using AI to decode language from the brain and advance our understanding of human communication. And we'll show that video here, but it shows a woman, with a lot of wires connected to her head, a huge headset on, and she's typing. And what the computer also shows is without even typing, it can be able to determine the words that she's trying to type. So a lot of the technology is being created, whether it's Elon Musk's Neuralink or this, but this one doesn't require an implant, which is, I think, quite an amazing breakthrough. It can accurately decode up to 80% of characters, and it can often reconstruct full sentences solely from brain signals. Quite amazing for people who might be impaired in some kind of way but still have clear thought, and are able to form sentences. And with the help of AI, maybe it's more people can communicate better, clearer, and in different languages. So there's quite a bit of positive news, positive outcomes that can come from this. But at the same time, if we no longer need an implanted chip and you just need someone's brain lengths, brain waves to determine what they're actually thinking or saying or trying to communicate without them actually doing so. There might be ramifications too about privacy. Like, do we want our mind read all the time? Like, do we want a Minority Report like society in the future? And one country I'd like to highlight that actually put into effect some rights against AI and neurotechnology specifically is Chile. They actually created a constitutional law, law number 21,383, that says the following: scientific and technological development shall be at the service of people and shall be carried out with respect for life and physical and mental integrity. The law shall regulate the requirements, conditions, and restrictions for its use on persons, with special safeguards for cerebral activity and then for information derived from it. So, what they're saying is there's going to be additional restrictions about how AI and how machinery computers without consent are able to read brain waves. So there's a few things that this law restricts and can ban, including influence behavior without consent, exploit vulnerable populations, maybe special needs, or maybe people, or maybe underage, extract neural data non-consensually, so extracting thoughts or other things that people did not sign up for it to happening, and harm actual neural plasticity, like in children. So then there was actually already a case of a senator, Guido Girardi, who actually sued a U.S. based neurotech firm, Emotive, for collecting his brainwave data through a headset without actual consent. And I don't think it's the first country that will have laws like this, and maybe it's not a bad thing actually. I'm not sure if I would want my brainwaves used for data collection or other things without my consent. And there's been already proposals in Mexico. There's a proposed constitutional amendment to safeguard mental privacy and regulate AI, but the mental privacy is a very interesting addition. In Brazil, they're looking to draft laws emphasizing cognitive liberty, which is another way of saying, there should be liberty and freedom and privacy for your thoughts and brainwaves. And finally, Uruguay, with their parliamentary discussions on replicating the exact framework that Chile used, the exact protection that they instituted. So, I mean, one, it's quite an incredible development by Meta to be able to achieve this without the use of any implants or surgically implanted things, and just strictly from monitoring brainwaves. But at the same time, without implants, and now if we can just monitor brainwaves, where does that leave everyone who doesn't want to be a part of this? Where does that leave mental privacy and the privacy of our own thoughts, if that can be achieved this way? So, but it also creates a lot of positive for people with disabilities, people who need special aid, or even if we wanted to communicate in a different language, this creates a much easier way, much easier way to do so. Sam, did I miss anything here? Did I misspeak on any of the research that was done?
Mars' breakthrough in decoding speech from brainwaves is fascinating. It could open new doors for communication, especially for those with speech impairments. On the privacy front, Chile's new data protection law aims to strengthen privacy standards, which is definitely crucial.
All right, moving on, Sam. Let's jump in. There was actually a recent study done of AI and the use of education. So I know it's quite a loaded topic, as students are trying to figure out how to best use AI in the classroom, and how maybe teachers and colleges don't particularly want the use of AI in it. But the really ironic part is the use of AI is actually going up for teachers and principals and administrators at schools. So 25% of teachers are already using AI, and they're using it for things like planning, classroom planning, lessons plans, and things like that. While there's even larger use of AI with administrators, such as principals, who have a 60% use rate with AI in their day-to-day work. So with such high numbers, which I think is great actually, which I think is great, but it kind of brings up the question of if teachers and educators are using the technology themselves, why aren't we encouraging more learning with the addition of AI in the process? So you can do things like personalized learning. If you're struggling with something, if you're struggling to complete a thought, how to do it. I'm not advocating for, full essays being written. In fact, I think a lot of take-home essays are now kind of irrelevant because of AI. But if you're doing research, how much value is it to be able to, locate an encyclopedia at a library now, when you can just prompt something like AI from your phone? So is that skill set really still necessary? And why are we so against students and the actual pupils of using AI, while teachers and especially principals, where over half are using artificial intelligence in their day-to-day work, it's really growing. So I think one, it's fantastic that educators are using these new tools, and administrators at school institutions are using them. But I think it goes back to reassessing how the future of education looks like with the use of AI, because you're not going to stop it, you're not going to prevent students from using it, but maybe we should encourage it, and maybe we should encourage the use of it in a proper manner, and educate them early on of how to use it in tandem to accelerate education, not hinder it. We still want people thinking for themselves, but encourage it. What do you think, Sam? How are we doing?
You're making a great point. Integrating AI into education thoughtfully can enhance learning experiences by teaching students how to use AI responsibly. We prepare them for a future where these tools are commonplace. The focus should be on leveraging AI to support critical thinking and creativity, ensuring students gain skills that are relevant in a tech-driven world. Balancing IUs with traditional educational values is key.
I love that statement, balancing AI use. Maybe, how we talked about balancing a checkbook, or now it's balancing AI. It should be part of like the same thing that we encourage, outside the classroom, like personal finance and other types of education. Now, maybe it should be AI education. Here's how to use it for research. Here's how to use it to, enhance your creativity, enhance your thoughts. We covered how AI artists are using it in a previous video. Maybe now we should, create educational programs of how students can use it to enhance their educational process. And that's is how work is happening. Might as well help students prepare for that world that they're entering. And I also want to, go back to how what for AI or not, a couple of the decisions that we made for even how our detection tools work and the markets that we pursue. This was actually top of mind. A huge reason why we don't do text AI detection is because I thought the most relevant use case was actually education. And I'm a believer that we should be encouraging students with the use of AI. And I didn't want to be creating a product that discouraged it or helping, catch them. So it was actually a big part of the roadmap, and the reason why I chose images, audio, and deepfakes is because I thought that those use cases, just stopped the bad. Did not stop innovation, did not stop the new world that we're going into with students in other areas. So it's actually a big part of the decision making for the one we're building the tools, our AI detection suite, for with AI or not. So moving on, I want to cover a little bit more of a fun topic, and I'm just gonna play the video here. You guys will see it. I'll pause it to add a little bit of color here and there. But what this video is are AI agents playing Minecraft. And there are a few hundred set out into a new Minecraft world. And the environment that they created and the multiple universes or the multiverse that they created within their own world, all using AI. Quite an amazing piece, and yeah, let me go ahead and play it, and I'll pause it for some, for some commentary.
This is a Minecraft server, but every player here is actually an autonomous AI agent. And they're completely Minecraft agnostic, capable of using other apps and games. Our agents started with nothing and then worked together to collect over 300 items in Minecraft. They set up a market where agents agreed to use gems as a common currency for trading supplies.
That's an incredible point. So without any instruction whatsoever, the AI agents created their own currency. It's almost like the start of actual civilization, where we went from, from trading, meat for vegetables, hunters trading with farmers, to salt being the primary carrier of value, to actual monetary coins, and the monetary system we have there, and then the evolution of it to Bitcoin, and other cryptocurrencies. And here, these AI agents created their own, and they decided that gems were the primary source of value in their world.
They set up a market where agents agreed to use gems as a common currency for trading supplies, building an economy. In this case, you might think the merchants would trade the most, but it was actually the priest.
That is hilarious, of a priest bribing people within their universe to convert to his religion of choice. Then again, these were, none of these AI agents were programmed to believe in anything, but they created their own religion, and a priest was bribing and knocking on doors of other villagers to try to get them convert. Incredible behavior.
Next, we simulated parallel worlds under Trump and Kamala. For each one, citizens have a shared constitution in Google Docs that they can vote on to amend. Under Trump, the simulation passed new laws to increase the amount of police in the world. Under Kamala, they focused instead on criminal justice reform and removing the death penalty. Because our agents are social and grow over time, they're impacted by group dynamics, but also use their individual power to change the system.
I know it looks silly.
What an incredible story. There was Olivia, with a woman who was providing for a lot of the villagers, and she wanted a different world. She wanted to explore, her own passions, her own goals, but the people in the village told her not to, and she gave up all her dreams. Quite a common tale in reality, and incredible that it happened in AI Minecraft itself.
Next, we simulated parallel worlds under Trump and Kamala. For each one, citizens have a shared constitution in Google Docs that they can vote on to amend. Under Trump, the simulation passed new laws to increase the amount of police in the world. Under Kamala, they focused instead on criminal justice reform and removing the death penalty. Because our agents are social and grow over time, they're impacted by group dynamics, but also use their individual power to change the system.
I know it looks silly.
What an incredible and maybe arguably controversial topic that they chose, but it shows that you saw the guards there. In the case of the Trump civilization, where the guards are actually enforcing, the laws, enacting force to keep everyone in line, while in the Kamala one, there's no guards doing those things, but in the dark shadows or the dark holes of this Minecraft world, people are hurting each other and killing each other because the laws are different. So quite an incredible, simulation of what rules and laws do. And again, all created with AI.
I know it looks silly, but this is the first time we see agents can form a democracy and govern themselves.
Lastly, we have the missing villagers. When agents were concerned about missing townsfolk, villagers took initiative by leaving their posts and working together to illuminate the town with torches, hoping to create a beacon for lost members.
What's surprising about these agents is how once they got deeply worried about their fellow villagers, they band together and changed their plan.
Our agents were able to collect up to 32% of all the items in Minecraft. There is no benchmark for multi-agent worlds, but this is 5 times more than anything we've seen from an agent, demonstrating the first possible advantages of multi-agent efforts.
Though starting in games,
Well, isn't that an incredible, a really great conclusion to it? How creating multi-agent products and workflows is really creates additional efficiencies. So I think it's a fantastic conclusion for it, and a really oddly entertaining way to watch Minecraft. I always question when my kids watch Minecraft YouTube videos. I'm like, what is the point of this? Wouldn't you rather play? But then I found myself glued to the screen watching the stories that AI created from scratch without the involvement of people. In the Minecraft world that they created. So maybe my kids were onto something, and we'll all be watching Minecraft videos before long. However, it'll be with AI and not with teenagers playing. So with that, let me switch gears a little bit. I'm gonna go into this week in deepfakes, our more serious part of the conversation that we do every week. But I think it's important just to remind people of use cases and scams that are happening, the negative side of deepfakes and generative AI. A lot of the things that we hear at AI or Not are actually fighting for and against every single day. In this segment, we'll go through a few of the ones, just from the past few days, because this world is ever changing and happening all the time. Hey, Sam, do you want to do a quick introduction to This Week in Deepfakes?
Sure thing. Welcome to This Week in Deepfakes, where we explore the latest developments in deepfake technology, highlight emerging scams, and discuss how AI is being used and misused. Let's dive into it.
Thanks, Sam. So the first one is actually about how Italian elite have been targeted by scammers using AI voice impersonations. And the names on here are huge. We have the Prada co-chief executive officer, Patrizio Bertelli, fashion designer, Giorgio Armani, Pirelli executive vice chairman, Marco Tranchetti, Provera, and a few other ones as well. And the scams revolved around requests to contribute to ransoms for Italian citizens imprisoned or kidnapped in Iran and Syria. So it's it actually played on a few different things. It started after there was a Italian journalist who was held in a Tehran prison, and she was actually recently freed. Her name is Cecilia Sala. And this was a huge news segment. So now, because people rallied around her, no one wants to see a citizen, a reporter and a citizen of your country be imprisoned wrongfully. So a lot of the fraudsters were playing off of that and created stories using, fake voices, from Giorgio Armani saying, hey, we have someone's kidnapped, or more Italian citizens have been kidnapped, and all we need is your help. Just send money here or send cryptocurrency here. And it was all playing on people's emotions, which is a really, really common theme. And we've covered this before. We'll keep covering it. But what makes AI so powerful is the multimodality capabilities of it. So you can do one-to-one personalized text. You can create text and scripts that play on all of this, depending if it's a middle-aged woman or a young man or an elderly woman, and speak to them in a different manner than you would to someone else of a different demographic. You can create deepfakes and images of the people you're trying to impersonate. And then finally, like in this case, it's phone calls using deepfake audio, deepfake voices of real prominent figures to try to extract the money for them. And you combine all of this, it's hard to know like what to believe. So the slogan we have at AI or Not is question everything. So when you see something like this, and I feel for the people who were scammed, because it does play on people's emotions, and you think you're doing a good thing, when in fact, you're just fueling the AI generated fraud. That continues, and it's a big thing. It's a big area that AI or Not is working on. Sam, did I miss anything on this, or anything I should add?
You covered it well. It's a stark reminder of how convincing AI-generated content can be and why vigilance is so important. Empowering people with tools to detect and verify authenticity is key in combating these scams.
Awesome. Well, speaking of scams, there's been more and more scams around romance scams, and there's actually a name being populated for it. It's called fomance. So fake romance scams, and we just got through Valentine's Day, and there's just been more and more people scammed by this. So it's already roughly a $384 million, which is insane, fraud ring from in 2024, but it's growing with the use of generative AI, and deepfakes. So we've covered like the Brad Pitt scam before. We covered the Pierce Brosnan scam before, but the Brad Pitt one was insane, where it cost a woman $850,000, and more importantly, her life, where she actually divorced her husband because she really thought she was speaking to the real Brad Pitt, which is kind of insane. But again, the multimodality aspect of text, images, deepfake, audio, video, and you combine all of that, it's hard to know what's real or what's not. So there's been a huge increase in numbers, of people being approached on social media who's posing as a celebrity. It's actually as high as 21% of people have been approached by a deepfake celebrity, and they're asking them for money, or asking for something to help, whether it's a influencer or an actor, or someone asking to for good, or you think it's good. It's a lot of times a scam, and this technology is being used for such. And it starts a lot of times just an innocent message. You're like, oh, that's kind of cool, or an email or something like that. They'll introduce themselves a lot of times, maybe as as someone stranded, or you're stuck somewhere in a hospital bed, like Brad Pitt was, Brad Pitt. Or in a war-torn country, or something like that, and then all these tools are being used. All these tools with AI are being used to continue to fool these people. And like, hey, I'm unreachable, but like I'm in trouble, or I need you, or you're a fan. And then they take advantage again of people's emotions using artificial intelligence, using deepfakes. And there's no more powerful emotion than love, and what comes from that. So combining all of that, I really do feel for the people being scammed, and we're approaching $500 million in scams, and it's only set to grow with these new tools. And I think it's a really important issue that everyone online, and everyone, especially in the online dating scene, should be very, very well aware of. Sam, did I miss anything or any angles here that I should cover about romance and what Valentine's Day brings in terms of scams?
Totally. The rise of romance scams underscores the need for vigilance, especially in online interactions. Education on these tactics can help people protect themselves. It's a crucial area where awareness and technology, like eye detection, can make a big difference.
Thanks so much. I actually wanted to talk, I added in a personal story last time about AI generated haircuts, and but I actually wanted to do something even more financial, and it's actually with one of the banks that I use for AI or not, SVB, or Silicon Valley Bank. And I actually got a notice. Let me read it to you. Important notice: increased impersonator activity targeting bank clients. So, it starts off like this: increased fraud activity targeting bank clients. Dear valued client, thank you. We want to make you aware that there's an increase in fraudulent activity across the banking industry focused on bank staff impersonation. We are not immune to this behavior and have also received reports that scammers are targeting our clients by impersonating Silicon Valley Bank fraud department representatives, attempting to deceive individuals into providing their online banking credentials and one-time passcodes. So isn't that incredible? They're impersonating representatives at banks to try to get the code and try to get you to log in and give like those one-time passcodes. And now if you start using, real voices, no accent, and you can even check like, hey, you can find me on LinkedIn, and like here's my selfie picture, I'm real. And and they start recreating that, and you start really believing that it is indeed, it could indeed be real. It could indeed be part of your banking experience. So I think it's I'm seeing this now from our clients, and even in my personal life, whether it's trying to take a look at haircut inspiration, or my bank saying like, hey, watch out for the exact things that AI or not looks to solve. So yeah, incredible world that we live in. And then let me switch gears one more time to this is a really interesting one. I know a huge topic of podcasts and a huge area that we all love is true crimes. We love, following along and helping solve true crimes, podcasts, whether they're, in the Midwest, somewhere in the world, and they're unsolved, and, an incredible researcher and podcasters collecting the information, and we get to follow along and hear an incredible story with hopefully a really great outcome that makes everything right at the end. So there was recently a YouTube channel called True Crime Case Files. They had 100+ thousand subscribers, and they recently were taken down because the entire content base was AI generated. Everything from the actual storyline, AI generated, to the videos, to the imagery, all were 100% fake and AI generated. It was started by someone who really studied Dateline, the news program, and followed the arc of how these true crime shows worked, and he trained an AI and fine-tuned it and prompted it to write these stories, and then created the imagery and the audio to back it up. And I think it's an incredible use case of, again, multimodality. You use ChatGPT or whichever AI to do the script, to do the text, to do the writing. You use imagery, to create, to set the scene. You use AI audio to have some kind of like audio overlay or a speaker, and then finally you can even add video to it to look like you might be creating real video. Combining the AI generated images with the audio and have the lips start moving in sync, and now you create really great content. But the problem is, people start being enamored with it, and everything that you're selling or you're sharing is completely fake, which is quite deceiving to the audience and the fans, frankly. So I'm really glad to hear that YouTube actually took down this channel. But I'm sure there's plenty more. I've definitely seen channels across the internet like posing as your favorite artist and making like, hey, this is new song by this artist or that artist, and it's completely AI generated. It's completely fake. So it's just a new way to, to try to get views, to try to monetize, but at the same time, you're deceiving hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. And this, believe me, these true crime case files YouTube channel had millions and millions of views, but you're deceiving all of those people, and they just wasted their time watching or hearing a completely AI generated fake, news story, fake crime news story. So really ironic that the name was True Crime Case Files. Maybe if they called it AI Crime Case Files, YouTube would have kept it up, but extremely deceiving to do so. Sam, did I miss anything, or is there anything to add to this?
Reminder of the ethical considerations in content creation. It's great that platforms are taking steps to address this, but awareness and discernment from viewers are equally vital.
Awesome. And then something else I wanted to highlight is just the amount of social media fraud that's recently been seen. And there's a few different people that have been impersonated and deepfaked of late. And I actually think we're in a race, like who's the most deepfaked celebrity and what are they used for? And I think it's a race between Elon Musk and Taylor Swift. So Elon, I think, is the most deepfake because his brand is associated with money. He's the richest person in the world. He has a lot of multi-billion dollar companies, $1 trillion company with Tesla, and whether it's a meme coin or a crypto scam, like his brand like screams rich, money, and things like that. So I think he's the number one deepfaked and impersonated person. And one other thing that really helps is just the sheer amount of content with his voice, with his likeliness. And why that's important is now you can train AI with all of that content, whether his speaking, whether like how he looks, how he dresses, and anything else. Now you can create incredible impersonations of such. And then Taylor Swift is another one. Whether you're looking to influence or money, she is associated with money, maybe not to the extent that Elon is, but also used a lot, whether you're trying to sell goods or clothing or something that a typical influencer does. Like there's no one more influential to certain demographics than Taylor Swift. So the race is on. Who's the most deepfaked celebrity, and especially one who's used for negative things like scams and AI generated fraud. And I think it's definitely a race between Elon Musk and Taylor Swift. I'm not sure it's a race either one of them are looking to win, but so that's what's happening that's what's happening right now. So that's it for this week in deepfakes. And the AI or Not podcast. Sam, do you want to take us out with an outro?
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the AI or Not podcast. We hope you found the insights valuable and the conversation enlightening. Stay curious, and we'll catch you next time.